It is the 12th of September, and I have not discussed anything in the form of a vlog for the entire month so far, and we are nearly halfway through. How does that happen? Well, here we are to discuss what's been going on for the first 12 days and beyond. Welcome to this week's reading vlog, and welcome back to Mr. Francy. I am going to change up the way I'm doing this week's vlog. Predominantly, it will be a reading vlog, and I plan to check in every single day. So I'm going to do, like, little clips. Because of that, I need to be really quick in what I'm going to say now, because I have 3 books that I have read, so I need to talk to you about the first 2, and then the third one, and try and cover all that in 5 minutes, and what I'm reading next. So, wish me the best of luck, let's go. The book that I brought over from August into September was this book, which is Starting From Scratch by Jay Northcote. This is an adult, male, they call it romance, but I really have another word for this series. I wouldn't call it romance, I would call it male spice. But anyway, it's a spicy male series, and I've enjoyed all the books so far, and then I began this one. This book let me down. Usually my ratings are based on entertainment value and nothing else. I did not rate this book on entertainment value. However, what came up in this book was incredibly important. I understand the significance of it, and therefore I decided to add a star. So, finished this first book of the month and I gave it 4 stars. Then I picked up the 8th book in the Zodiac Academy series, Sorrow and Starlight. I am going to probably surprise a lot of you who have heard me talk a lot about Zodiac Academy in the past by saying I'm actually quite happy. I only have 2 books left. I didn't enjoy this one as much as I enjoyed the rest. And I think it's because, and it's really tough to say these words, I'm starting to get over Zodiac Academy. I ultimately ended up giving this book 4 stars, and I wonder if I rated it too high. You let me know what you think. So, the book I finished today is this book, Conventionally Yours by Annabeth Albert. This is technically a reread for me, and depending upon who you are on Goodreads, the age rating for this book is as follows: either new adult, young adult, or adult. So, that I gave this book either 4 or 4.5 stars when I first read it, and I'm going to give it 4.5 stars this time. When I first recorded this, I didn't know if I was going to give it 4 or 4.5, but even on a reread, it still holds up as being an amazing book for many different reasons. The perfection of the description and analyzation of anxiety from Annabeth Albert in this book is absolutely on point. Like, he's scared of driving, but he can drive. And so to give you one example, he will say, do not put on the radio while I am driving. I need to concentrate. I would probably do the same thing. I don't have a license right now, but if I did, I'd be like, everyone quiet. If you're not going to be quiet, take me out the car. But yeah, fantastic book, 4.5 stars, and I do highly recommend this book. The fact that it holds up on reread, even better. Not every single book that I read holds up on a reread. So moving forward, tomorrow, which is Friday the 13th, of course it is. Happy Friday the 13th. I'm going to be reading this book out of character, which is book 2 in the same series, which is why I read Conventionally Yours. Interestingly, I just looked at the premise, and I cannot see Conrad or Alden being mentioned anywhere here in the premise. So I think that this might be that took me way too long to research. Apparently the correct word is anthology, but the word that I know is companion. And a great example of this would be Letters to the Lost and More Than We Can Tell, which is a YA contemporary companion books by Bridget Kemmerer. And so while they are books that will follow characters that you've met in book 1, they're not necessarily following characters that were the main characters in book 1, or it somehow connects to the first book, but not exactly directly, in that you are picking up where you left off. And honestly, if that's the case, if this is a companion, I don't know if I'm gonna enjoy it as much, because I want to read more about Alden and Conrad. But in saying that, I love Annabeth Albert, so I am intrigued to see what she does. I'm hoping to get halfway through this book tomorrow, Friday. Alright, we'll catch up tomorrow. It is Friday the 13th, so it's time to update my vlog for the day. Today I started Out of Character by Annabeth Albert. I am literally halfway. Chapter 23 starts on page 201, ends on page 200, and there are 400 pages in the book, so I'm literally halfway. Okay, so thoughts on the book at this stage, and this is why I love doing vlogs like this, because I can talk more about the book during reading it, which is so fun. So, we are following Jasper and Milo. Now, in book one, Conventionally Yours, we followed Alden and Conrad. We were introduced to other people of the Odyssey card game, and one of those people was Jasper. So now we're following Jasper. Yeah, this is definitely a companion book. I would not call it book 2 in the, whatever it's called, True Colours series. I would just say it's a companion to book number 1. Definitely not an anthology. Very quickly, I looked up the difference between anthology and companion book right after I did my video yesterday. After I turned it off, I went, I'm going to look this up now. No, it's a companion, not an anthology. The book opens up with Jasper working at, he works at like a gaming store, which makes sense because he likes to play the RPG card game, so it makes sense. And while he is there, a customer walks in to ask for something, and when he turns to look at the customer, he finds out to his shock horror that it was his main high school bully. So obviously, a lot going on. This guy wants to get these 5 cards in good condition, and Jasper basically said, "You're kidding, right? Those 5 cards together, you're lucky if you pay 10 grand for them, because they're like the biggest cards in the game." And he wanted them packed in the foil packaging, so they're in the foil packaging as well. Yeah, 10 grand, good luck. And turns out his brother, who is currently fighting in the war, his older brother, this is, the bully, whose name is Milo. Milo's, brother is currently off fighting in the war. Before he went to war, he taught Milo how to play Odyssey, and Milo likes the game. So then Milo met someone, I think his name was George or whatever, and so let's call him George, because that's what I think his name is. And he went over to George's house to play Odyssey with him because he found out that George likes to play as well. And George said that he's a really good player. So he took these cards that are really expensive, obviously, and really rare, that he didn't know was rare, and he lost them to George. And then, so he's telling Jasper about, you know, that situation. Jasper said, yeah, it's George. Like, George is one of the best players. Milo ends up waiting for Jasper to finish work, unbeknownst to Jasper, by his car. And when Jasper arrives, Milo says, "Please, can you please help me? I had no idea they were my brother's cards." And Milo says, "Okay, I'll make a deal with you. Me and some of the people from the store, we like to go and visit their kids at the cancer ward of the hospital, and we need someone to dress up as Neptune. So if you dress up as Neptune and come with us for however long we need you, I will help you." So he agrees to do that. And then we're kind of following the former bully romance trope. I'm enjoying the book, not as much as Conventionally Yours, but I do like Annabeth Albert's writing style. It is very easy to consume, but also the story is incredibly entertaining. I am going to call it an adult book because there are spicy things that happen, but Annabeth Albert does what I would do. She insinuates things. So yeah, it's an adult book, and that's fine. I'll deal with that because as I said, don't want to call it new adult. So far, so good. Not liking it as much as Conventionally Yours, though. At the moment, it's a 4-star read, but we're only halfway through, so time will tell. So the plan tomorrow is to complete this book. I am determined to get through all 14 books this month, and here's a quick heads up for you. I just completed my TBR for next month. 13 books on next month's TBR. Normally, I have 12 or less, so yeah. Alright, enjoying my time with Out of Character, and I will see you tomorrow. Mwah. Keep sparkling. Bye! It is Saturday, which means it is time for another update in this weekly vlog. So, I finished Out of Character by Annabeth Albert, and Okay, we've got a few things we need to unpack. First of all, I ultimately gave this 4 stars. Honestly, it's more like a 3.5, but my excuse is I've never given a 3.5 rating, so I just decided to round it up to 4 stars. But yeah, 4 stars, but we both know. Yeah, we all know what I mean. 3.5. Let's unpack why. First things first, and I discussed this in yesterday's clip, so I don't want to spend too long discussing this part of my reasoning, but this is marketed as the second book in the series, but it's not. It's a companion, and I wish that it had been marketed as that. Yes, it is my fault that I don't read premises of books before I go in, because I like to be blind, but if I'm being told that this is the next book in a series, then I expect to follow the same characters that I followed in the previous book or books leading up to this one. It's not the second book in the series, it's a companion. Yeah, I really enjoyed Alden and Conrad in book 1. I especially, as I've told you guys many times, I enjoyed the representation of anxiety with Alden in book 1, so it was really annoying not to get Alden's perspective again. The book wasn't as entertaining as Conventionally Yours, which, by the way, is book 1, in case you didn't know. Yeah, so that did let me down. Honestly, when I finished Conventionally Yours the first time 2 years ago, when I read it prior to this one, it was a reread for me. I downloaded an RPG card game app on my phone and really got into it, and this book still revolves around that RPG game that they have in this world called Odyssey, but I'm actually over Odyssey, and I'm really hoping, and I don't want to say this, I'm really hoping another book in this series is not released, because I'm kind of over it now. I'm over Odyssey. I'm not over the relationships, and I need to make this very clear. I'm not over Annabeth Albert as an author. I do love Annabeth Albert as an author. Even though this is a disappointing book, I am still planning on reading more of her works next year, but I'm just done with this series. A couple of things to give pearls to for Annabeth Albert. Her writing style, once again, really easy to consume, which is great for someone like me because it allows me to focus on the entertainment, being entertained by the actual plot, as opposed to trying to shift through the extremely complicated writing style, which I've done in the past. I read really hard to read classic books. That top shelf right there is all classics, and some of those books are extremely hard to read because you're mentally translating with the writing style. It was good seeing the characters from book 1, despite the fact that we only saw them for 10% and we didn't see their own perspectives. I am grateful that they did actually show up, because I didn't think they would for a while. So it takes a while for them to get there, but they do. So if you like Alden and Conrad, you'll see them. You just won't see them a lot. So yeah, all in all, I gave it 4 stars, but yeah, it's more leaning towards 3.5. It's going to be interesting because I am next reading a book by my favourite all-time female author. Arguably, it is a book in one of my least favourite series of hers. But anyway, it's Amanda Flower, and this is Honeymoons Can Be Hazardous, which is book number, I believe it's 4? Yes, book number 4 in the Amish Matchmaker series. So I've read the first 3. I really don't like the protagonist in this one, Millie, but I love her best friend, Lois. I love Amanda Flower, and just very quickly, in the Amish Candy Shop series, which I absolutely love, we follow an Englisher who is not Amish, who moves into Amish country, and we follow her perspective of not being an Amish person. In this series, the main protagonist we follow is Amish, and as I have never been Amish, it's hard for me to grasp that perspective, where her best friend Lois is not Amish, so she does things very differently, and I think, personally, Lois makes the series. So, it's been a while since I've read book 3, but I remember as much as I need to going into book 4, and it's going to be interesting to see how I rate this one. So, the goal is tomorrow, Sunday, to get halfway through this one and finish it off on Monday. So, I'll check in with you then. But until then, keep sparkling. Mwah. Love one another. Bye. It is Sunday, the 15th of September, which means it is time for another update. I am currently reading Amanda Flower's Honeymoons Can Be Hazardous. I'm there, which is chapter 22, page 184. I am over halfway, but only just. I wanted to be closer to my books, so here we are. Welcome back to this lovely bookshelf. Yay! It's like an updated SAS list right here. That's so cool. Let's quickly point some things out. We have Amish Matchmaker up here, the first three. Then we have some Immortals books. Then we have those Jane Northcote spicy ones. The Millie cruise ship ones. The some of the Zodiac Academy and Zodiac Academy finishing here. And Famous 5. And here I have books I've already read. And over there we have books for next month. But we won't focus on them right now. We'll just pretend we don't see those ones. And of course here we have all my cozies. You know, there's a shelf just a little lower that I want to show you, if I can. Okay, doing this quickly. This is the cozy shelf. This is the cozy shelf. This is the Campers and Criminals cozy shelf. Haley Powell Food and Cocktail Mystery, Cozy Mystery Series. Amanda Flower Cozy Mysteries. I've nearly completely filled this entire shop with cozies, which was a plan that I had at the beginning of the year, so I'm happy about that. But speaking of Amanda Flower, who now you can't see because her books are out of the frame, yeah, Honeymoons Can Be Hazardous is book number 4 in the Amish Matchmaker series, and even though Amanda Flower is my favourite female author, not just favourite cozy mystery author, but favourite female author of all time, this is arguably either my least favourite series of hers or one of my least favourite. It's between this and The Magic Garden. Oh, that Magic Garden trilogy. The Amish person is Millie, her best friend is Lois. One thing that we either don't know or I had forgotten is that Lois, who is an Englisher, not a non-Amish person, has had 4 husbands in the past. She's currently single. The most recent one that she was divorced from, she ends up seeing in Amish country because he is there with his new fiance or wife, one of the two, I'm sorry, to do something in Amish country, and the next thing we know, this fiance, wife, whatever she is dead. Now, there's a cuckoo clock, a very famous cuckoo clock that's been up for a very long time. The cuckoo clock fell, and it looks like, and when Millie and Lois found this fiance, wife, woman, the cuckoo clock was on top of her. So the obvious thing appears to be that the cuckoo clock killed her, but obviously it is a cozy mystery and we are going to find out more along the way. I still love Lois as a character. I'm still not the biggest fan of Millie as a character. I'm not enjoying the mystery, I have to be completely honest. At least with Amish Candy Shop, the cozy side focuses on candy. This series being called Amish Matchmaker, what doesn't work for me is that the cozy side does not focus on matchmaking. So I just don't know why it's called Amish Matchmaker. I wish we just called it the, whatever her name is, Millie series. I just realised this is a Millie cozy series, and so is this one, Millie Cruise Ship. So yeah, there we go. Every other one of Amanda Flower's series that I've read, the cozy side is very obvious. So for Amish Candy Shop, it's the candy making side. For the bookstore series, which I forgot what it's called, it is the bookstore that is the cozy side. For the Magic Garden series, it's the Magic Garden side. So what doesn't make sense with this series is it's Amish Matchmaker, but there is no matchmaker side to it. There was a chapter in the first half of this book that actually explored that. There was a guy who went up to Millie and said, well, I heard you're the matchmaker and I want you to match me with this person. And I'm glad that he did because I've been waiting for this. And Millie actually turned around and said to him, yes, I am a matchmaker, but it's unofficial. It's not my official job. It's something I discuss with couples who are in love, whether or not they should get married. But it's not anything official. It's just something that I can tell if they're going to be a good couple or not. Yeah. But anyway, look, yeah, I don't want to say I'm not enjoying a book, but I'm really not enjoying this. But in saying that, I am going to finish it because I'm less than 2 hours away from being done. It's more for me about being up to date. I love Amanda Flower, so I want to have every single one of her books up on my shelves. So yeah, it is what it is. So far though, it's a very average read. 3 stars. It could potentially go down to 2, which is disappointing. So the plan for tomorrow obviously is to finish this book, and yeah, then we'll get on to the next one. I hope that you're all having a wonderful, wonderful September. Have to think we were there. Be kind, love one another, and I'll see you in the next one. Mwah. Bye. It is Monday the 16th of September 2024, which means it is time for another update. I have finished Honeymoons Can Be Hazardous by Amanda Flower, Adult Cozy Mystery, book number 4 in the Amish Matchmaker series, and my prediction yesterday has come true. I am giving this book 2 stars. I did not enjoy it. I'll explain why in a moment, but before I do, or in the words of Julie Chen Moonves, But first, I will say this. I will be reading book number 5. And past Mr. Francy right now is watching this video going, what? You gave this book 2 stars and you're reading book number 5? Have you ever had a situation where you feel such loyalty to an author that it doesn't matter how bad the book is, you'll continue on in the series? I love Amanda Flower. I have faith that somewhere along the line I'll enjoy one of these. In fact, I think book number 2 was the one I liked. So, I gave book 1 3 stars. I gave book number 2 4 stars. That was the one I did like. I gave book number 3 3 stars, and book number 4 2 stars. This is the lowest I've given. Millie as a character, I don't relate to her at all. It is very hard for me to appreciate her perspective, and the plot itself just doesn't, of the series as a whole, but especially this book, did not intrigue me. The mystery of this book was not intriguing at all. It was just a book that I just basically forced myself to get through because it's an Amanda Flower book. So the next book that I'm going to be reading, which I'll be starting tomorrow, will be this book, Night Star by Alison Noel. This is book number, we are going to find out. This is book number 5 of 6 in the Immortal series, so I'll only have one more after this one, just like with Amish Candy Shop. It is a YA paranormal? I think it's paranormal. I can't think there. Sometimes it's hard for me to determine if it's paranormal or fantasy, but this is paranormal because, yeah, we're dealing with paranormal entities as opposed to fantasy beings. Okay, yep. It's paranormal. And it's been an interesting series. I was so worried going into book 3, and I didn't need to be. I really enjoyed book 3, so I'm hoping I'm going to enjoy book 4 as well. Time will tell. So the goal tomorrow is to, as I have been doing this whole vlog, is to get halfway through this book, and then, of course, I will complete it on Wednesday. It's Tuesday, the 17th of September, 2024. And I am currently reading Night Star by Alison Noel. This is book number 5 in the Immortal series. It is a YA paranormal series and YA paranormal book. I am currently there, which is 150 pages in. I'm not quite halfway, but I should definitely have this finished tomorrow. I had a very busy day today. My niece and her newborn child, who is like 5 months now, is staying with us, and I was babysitting today, so I didn't have a lot of time to read. But, you know, that is what it is. As far as focusing on the actual book itself, it's good. I just had a look at the premise because honestly, the majority of what I've read so far had seemed to be filler, and what I read for the premise is, hasn't happened yet. So, just spoiled myself and I didn't mean to. But anyway, so far it's okay. I don't like the sound of the premise, so when that part happens, some drama will unfold that I don't want to see, but we shall see how that goes. At this stage, I am enjoying the book, and it's probably a 4.5, somewhere around there. So we'll see how things go, and of course, you'll get the update on that tomorrow. I still don't have a 5-star book yet, and this is this is the 6th book I'm reading this month, and I have 14 to get through. So we're not halfway yet. There's still plenty of time for 5-star books to come out, but for me to give 5 stars these days, it needs to be a perfect book. If I have too many cons, 5 stars just can't happen. But, yeah, I'm liking it so far. It's definitely a solid 4-star read for me. If you are someone who likes YA paranormal books, I would definitely recommend giving this series a go. The basic setup is that we're following a girl by the name of Eva Bloom, who has psychic abilities, but she does not want them. There was an accident that she was involved in when she was a lot younger, and she woke up from that accident with these abilities, and she's basically been kicking and screaming about them since day one. Yeah, I think that's what makes the series interesting to me, because most people that we follow in paranormal books, they will have a destiny that they need to fulfill, and they just accept the destiny where Eva is definitely not like that. She, from book 1 right away, she said, I'm a psychic, but I don't want to be. And that's why, I always wear a hoodie and cover my hands, because if I touch anyone, I'll have a vision of what's going on with them, and I don't want to. But yeah, obviously big things are going down, at the moment, being the second last book. I was hoping it wouldn't all just be filler. Based on what I read with the premise, it may be filler, so we'll have to see how things go. But yeah, at the moment, it's a 4-star read, and I hope it continues to stay that way and not be a disappointment like the last book I read. But it is Wednesday, the 18th of September. I have finished Night Star, and I ended up giving it 4 stars. Honestly, overall, this has been a really good series, and I need to credit Alison Noel. I read the end of book number 2. I became incredibly cynical about how the remainder of the rest of the series was going to go, because the way that book 2 ended sounded like it was going to set us up for the rest of the series. I was right in that it would set us up for the rest of the series, but it didn't overtake the series, which was, I think, to be more specific, my issue. I honestly thought it would overtake the entire series, and it didn't, which is absolutely fantastic. Every book stands on its own merits. Not to say that they are standalones, they are part of a series, they're all absolutely connected and we follow the same character and all those sorts of things, but they all stand on their own merits, which is fantastic. Didn't really enjoy the first half of this one as much as the second half. Something massive happens with Haven at the end of this book, which is series defining, and I really, really appreciated that it did. So only one more book for me in this series, and then it will be done. I mean, when I read book 1, I think it was called Evermore. When I read book number 1 in this series a couple of years ago, I honestly didn't think I would be able to experience the rest of them, and now I'm only one book away from being completely done with this series. Fantastic book, 4 stars. The next book, therefore, that I'm due to pick up is this book, Holiday Buzz, which is by Cleo Coyle. I love these covers. They're just really hard to show on camera. I do believe that this is book number 12. Yes, book number 12 in the Coffee House Mystery series. And I've actually started it. So I am currently there, which is chapter 12, page 75. And this book is a total of 370, so just under 300 pages left to go, and so yeah, I have 2 days to finish this one, tomorrow and Friday, and that definitely will occur. So far, so good, although my favourite character in this series is Madame, and even though we're only 75 pages in so far, she hasn't featured as much as normal. I have had this complaint in the past, and I just want to be specific about what I said in the past, in that Madame would just be gone for the second half of every book, but in the first half, she would dominate, and in this case, we've seen her, I think, once in this whole book, for a really tiny scene that didn't even matter to the mystery, which has already begun. Another thing that I find really interesting about this book, but in a good way, is that we have a dual perspective in this book, in that we're dealing with then and now. So the murder has occurred. That's not a spoiler. In pretty much 98% of cozies, there's a murder that we're trying to solve. The murder has occurred, and we deal with now what Claire is doing and how she's investigating it, and then what was happening at the time when the murder was taking place with Claire, because she wasn't that far away from where the murder was. Really interesting stuff so far, but as I say, only 75 pages into a 370 page book, so I can't really even give her an average idea of where I would rate this at this point, but I am definitely enjoying it. So I've just realised that my vlogs have now gone for an entire week, so this is where we're gonna wrap things up. Did you enjoy the checking in everyday mini clips? Do you want these to continue? Let me know in the comment section below. I am aware that my videos are longer than the average. I'm trying to cut them down, the duration. However, when you have a situation like this where you're checking in every day and at least trying to say something, it does take a little while. So apologies for the length, but if you don't mind the length or you want me to work harder to try and condense the length even more, let me know in the comments section below. But in the meantime, I hope you are having a wonderful, wonderful September and enjoying what you are reading. Let me know what your favourite book is that you've read so far this month in the comments section below. But in the meantime, that is where I am going to leave it, letting you all go with peace, blessings, and so much love. Please do be kind and love one another and spread your sparkling energy all throughout the world. And until next week, happy reading. Bye everyone.